Love, Letting Go, and Living Fully. Written by Iyabo Bello and narrated by Joanne. Table of Contents. Prologue. The quiet morning introduction to the journey of rediscovering love and life. Chapter 1. The Mirror Within, Self-Love. Rediscovering Self-Worth and the Importance of Loving Yourself First. Chapter 2. Loving Him Again, My Husband. Rekindling Love and Seeing Your Partner Through New Eyes. Chapter 3. The Shadow of What If. Healing the Past. Letting go of past regrets and embracing what you've learned. Chapter 4. The Now. Moment, embracing the present and finding joy in every moment. Chapter 5. Vision without pressure. Living your dreams without the burden of expectations. Final. Chapter. My Love Story. Coming Full Circle. Embracing love, letting go, and living fully. Bonus. Daily affirmations for rediscovering love. Morning and evening affirmations to keep the love flowing. Prologue. The quiet morning. Love doesn't just find us. Sometimes we find it quietly, in the stillness of our own breath. It's a typical morning in my home. The sun has only just started to make its presence known, and the world outside remains calm. My tea sits beside me, still warm, its steam rising in delicate spirals. The air is cool, and the light coming through the window casts a soft glow across the room. I sit, wrapped in my pink nightgown, tracing the edge of my teacup with my finger, letting my thoughts wander. This is the beginning of a love story. One that bloomed quietly and unexpectedly in the silence of this moment. It's a love story about rediscovering who I am, reconnecting with the person I lost along the way, and embracing the richness of life in the present. The love I'm talking about isn't just about romantic relationships. It's the kind of love that springs from within, the kind that allows you to see the world anew and to fall in love with yourself. Chapter 1. The Mirror Within, Self-Love. Quote, "The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship you have." Jane Travis. There was a time when I thought love meant always giving, always sacrificing, always putting others first, especially in the name of family, relationships, and friendships. I gave and gave, thinking that to love was to deplete myself, to pour every last drop of care and attention into others, even when my own cup was empty. But there came a morning when everything shifted. It wasn't a dramatic moment. There were no grand gestures or epiphanies. It was something much simpler, quieter, but deeply transformative. I stood in front of my mirror, not to fix anything, not to judge, but just to see. At first, all I saw was a woman who had given so much of herself, so many years of her life to those she loved, and yet, in the process, she had forgotten something vital: herself. I had been so focused on others that I had neglected my own needs, my own desires. In that moment, standing in front of that mirror, I didn't just see a reflection of myself. I saw a woman who had survived. I saw a woman who had loved hard, who had faced challenges, and who had continued to show up, even when the world tried to pull her in 1,000 directions. But there was something more that I saw. A woman who was worthy of love, not just from others, but from herself. And in that moment, I made a decision. I whispered the words, "I love you." I didn't whisper them out of obligation or a desire to fill a void. I said them because I needed to hear them. I said them because for too long, I had forgotten the importance of loving myself. And the moment I said those words, I felt something change inside me. Something profound. Something healing. In that moment, I realized that love isn't just something we give to others. It's something we must first give ourselves. It's not selfish to love yourself. It's necessary. For when you love yourself, you can pour from a full cup, and the love you give to others will be deeper, more authentic, and more sustainable. It was as though I had unlocked a door within myself, and on the other side, I found a woman who was whole, even in her imperfections. I realized that I didn't need to be perfect to be worthy of love. I didn't need to fix myself before I could love myself. I just needed to accept myself, right here, right now, in all my mess and beauty. Exercise 1. Reflecting on yourself. Take a moment today to stand in front of a mirror, not to change anything, not to judge, but simply to see. Look at yourself. Really look. What do you see? As you gaze at your reflection, think about the woman or man standing before you. What has she or he survived? What has she or he achieved? What parts of her or him do you admire? What parts have you overlooked? Write down what you see in this moment. What story does your reflection tell you? Now, stand tall and say, I love you. Say it like you mean it. Say it with all the tenderness, respect, and care that you deserve. Self-love isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey, a practice that we must cultivate daily. And the beautiful thing is that this journey is uniquely yours. No one else can walk it for you. As I began to love myself more deeply, something magical happened. I stopped waiting for others to validate my worth. I stopped seeking approval in places where it would never come. Instead, I started to honor my own worth, my own voice. It wasn't always easy. There were days when the doubts would creep in, when I would question whether I was doing it right. But the more I practiced self-love, the more natural it became. I began to see myself not as someone who needed fixing, but as someone who was already whole. When we love ourselves, we stop trying to prove our worth to the world. We simply show up as we are, imperfect, messy, but whole. And when we love ourselves, we stop settling for relationships that drain us, and we start creating boundaries that protect our energy. Exercise 2. A love letter to yourself. Take a few minutes to write a love letter to yourself. Write it as though you are writing to your dearest friend. What would you tell her or him? Tell yourself the things you need to hear. Remind yourself of your strengths, your resilience, and your beauty, both inside and out. Acknowledge the hard things you've been through and the way you've shown up despite it all. Seal the letter with the words, I love you, and I'm proud of you. Keep this letter somewhere close, and whenever you feel doubt creeping in, take it out and read it to yourself. As I began my journey of rediscovering love for myself, I realized that this was the foundation for everything else. When I loved myself, truly and deeply, I found that I could love others more freely, without expectations or demands. I could offer love from a place of abundance, not scarcity. And I came to understand one crucial truth. Self-love is not a destination. It's a practice, a way of being. It's the quiet recognition that you are worthy, right here, right now. Not because you are perfect, but because you are enough. Chapter 2. Loving Him Again, My Husband. Quote, sometimes the love we think we've lost is simply waiting to be seen with new eyes. After 11 years of marriage, love can feel like an old sweater, familiar, comfortable, maybe even a little forgotten. The everyday routine had a way of dulling the spark, and in his absence, as he went off to Qatar for a work assignment, I found myself facing something I hadn't expected, a deep sense of longing. I didn't just miss his presence. I missed the parts of me that I had put aside. I hadn't realized it until he was away, but it felt as though his absence created space for me to see myself differently, more clearly, perhaps for the first time. Without the noise of our usual, daily routine, the silence offered me a chance to reflect. But there was something else, too. Something unexpected. I missed him, truly. It wasn't the routine that felt absent, but the connection we once shared. The laughter in the evenings, the way we knew each other's thoughts without needing to speak. It was the quiet moments, the small acts of tenderness, like the way he would always make me coffee just the way I liked it, without me ever asking, or how he would leave little notes on the fridge with silly jokes, reminding me to take it easy. In his absence, I began to realize how much I had taken those little things for granted, how much I had taken us for granted. Then one afternoon it happened. I was cleaning up the laundry, mindlessly sifting through piles of clothes, when I came across an old hoodie of his, buried under the rest of the laundry. It was a simple, worn-out hoodie that he had worn countless times. I hadn't thought about it in months, but suddenly, the sight of it stirred something in me. It was like a rush of memories hit me all at once. I took the hoodie in my hands, my fingers brushing against the familiar fabric. Hesitant, I slipped it over my head, and the instant it touched my skin, I was enveloped by his scent. That mix of rosemary and oud, a scent I had long since forgotten, wrapped around me like a warm hug. For a moment, it was as if he were standing right beside me. I closed my eyes and let the memories flood me. I remembered the early days of our relationship, the way he used to look at me like I was the only person in the room. I remembered the late-night talks, the way we shared our dreams and fears, the way we promised each other that we would always fight for each other no matter what. It wasn't just nostalgia that I was feeling. It was a sudden reawakening of love. I realized that I had let go of the magic we once shared, not because it was gone, but because I had stopped seeing it. That moment, standing there in his hoodie, was the beginning of my rediscovery of him, not just as my husband, but as the man I fell in love with years ago. I had to see him anew, just as I had to see myself. The love I thought I had lost was still there, waiting for me to recognize it, waiting for me to approach it with fresh eyes. I found myself falling in love with him again, not because he had changed, but because I had. I had softened. I had learned to let go of the expectations, the resentments, the distractions, and in doing so, I had created space for him again. Exercise 2. Rekindling love. Take a moment to reflect on the person you love. What is it about them that makes them special to you? Remember the early days of your relationship, those moments when you were full of hope, excitement, and discovery. What did you see in them then that maybe you no longer notice today? Now, imagine that you are seeing them for the first time, as if through fresh eyes. What do you see? How do they look? Not just physically, but emotionally. What do they bring to your life? Write down your thoughts. Rewrite your love story from the beginning. But this time, add a touch of magic, a layer of wonder. What if your love had a scent? What if every glance between you two was a moment of unspoken connection? What if the simple acts you take for granted now were seen as beautiful gestures? Once again, and finally, ask yourself, how can you bring that magic back into your current relationship? What can you do today to reignite the spark? Chapter 3. The Shadow of What If. Healing the Past. Quote, "The past is a place of learning, not a place of living." We all carry what-ifs from our past, those lingering questions that never quite leave us, those echoes of what could have been. And while we can't change what has happened, we often find ourselves trapped in the shadows of those unanswered questions, constantly pondering, what if I had chosen differently? What if I had taken that risk? What if they hadn't walked away? For me, The what if that lingered in my heart was a love story that had ended long ago. It wasn't the kind of love you easily forget. It was the kind of love that, in some ways, shaped me. Who I was, who I became, and how I saw the world. For years, I carried this ghost, this lingering thought. What if he was the one? I spent so much time looking back, trying to understand why it hadn't worked out, trying to pinpoint the exact moment when things shifted. I compared every relationship after that to the memory of that love. I couldn't help it. It felt like there was something unfinished, something unresolved. But as time passed, I realized something crucial. My obsession with the what if wasn't allowing me to live fully. The past was not meant to be relived. It was meant to be learned from. We cannot keep living in the shadows of our former selves. The person I had been with him wasn't the person I needed to be now. In the fictional version of my story, I met him again, many years later. But this time, we were both older. We sat in a cozy cafe that didn't really exist, somewhere between Paris and closure. He looked at me with those familiar eyes. But this time, there was no sadness, no longing. He smiled and said, "You became everything I hoped you would." And I smiled back and said, "I did, even without you." It was in that moment of fictional closure that I truly understood the power of letting go. Sometimes, we think we need a person, a situation, or an explanation to move forward. But what I realized is that true healing comes when we accept what is, not what could have been. The past is meant to be a lesson, not a prison. What ifs can be powerful teachers, but they can also be shackles. They keep us stuck in a story that is no longer ours to tell. We need to release them, gently but decisively. Exercise 1. Releasing the what ifs. Think about a what if that has been lingering in your heart. Maybe it's a past relationship, a missed opportunity, or a decision you regret. Take a moment to sit quietly with this thought. Now, imagine that you could release it, like letting go of a balloon in the sky. You don't need to carry this question with you anymore. Write down the what if that has been holding you back. Then, write a letter of gratitude to it. Thank the what if for the lessons it taught you, and then say goodbye. When you're ready, let go of the paper or the thought. You can tear it up, burn it safely, or bury it, whatever feels symbolic of releasing it from your life. The what if that haunted me wasn't just about a person. It was about what I thought that person represented. I had built this image of him in my mind, an image of what our life could have been. But it was all just a figment of my imagination, a version of reality that never existed. The truth is, the what if was a story I had told myself about what I needed in order to be happy. I thought I needed that specific person, that specific timeline, but I was wrong. I didn't need them to write my story. What I needed was to become the person who could write her own story, without relying on past loves, missed opportunities, or imagined futures. I needed to become the person who was whole on her own, who didn't need to look back to move forward. And so, I began to heal by making peace with the past. The past was part of me, but it didn't have to define me. The things that I had been through, the heartbreak, the missed chances, they didn't make me weaker. They made me wiser. Exercise 2. Healing the past with gratitude. Think about a past, relationship or experience that has shaped you. It could be a love story, a loss, or a choice you regret. Instead of focusing on the pain or the regret, write a letter of gratitude to this experience. Thank it for what it taught you. What lessons did it impart? What did you learn about yourself through it? This exercise isn't about condoning the past or ignoring the hurt. It's about acknowledging that even the painful experiences have something to offer. They helped you become who you are today. The act of healing the past is not about forgetting. It's not about pretending that certain events or relationships didn't matter. It's about accepting them as part of your journey without letting them hold you captive. Healing comes when we stop looking backward and start moving forward with the lessons learned, the wisdom gained, and the strength forged through those experiences. The past is a chapter in your story, not the entire book. Exercise 3. Rewriting your story. Take a moment to reflect on your life story. If you could rewrite the past chapter where the what-ifs live, how would you write it differently? What would you change if you didn't have to hold on to the past anymore? Write a new version of your story, one where you let go of the what-if and move forward with your power and wisdom intact. I began to understand that the what-ifs were simply markers along my journey, reminders that I had made choices, that I had loved, that I had learned, but they no longer had the power to control my future. The power to shape my story was always in my hands. And so, I let go. It wasn't easy. Healing never is. But with each step, I felt lighter. I felt free. And I realized that the future I was building didn't have to be weighed down by the past. It could be anything I chose it to be. Chapter 4. The Now Moment. Quote, "You will never live this exact day again. Make it beautiful." For so long, I lived my life waiting for the perfect moment to start a project, waiting for the right time to make a change, waiting to fall in love, waiting for the approval of others. I thought that someday, when everything aligned, I would finally be happy. But the truth is, there is no someday. There is only today, right now. One morning, I woke up and realized that this day, this very moment, would never come again. The world outside was quiet, the sky still holding the first rays of the sun, and I was fully present. I decided in that moment that I would stop waiting. I would stop waiting for the perfect conditions to begin, to live fully, to be happy. Had spent so much time chasing after what could be that I missed the beauty in what is. I was so focused on the future that I wasn't seeing the gift that today offered. The gift of being here, right now, in this moment. So I let go of the idea that I needed to fix my life first. I realized that life is not something to wait for. It's something to embrace. I started to pay attention to the small things, the way the light flickered through the trees, the quiet hum of the morning, the warmth of my tea against my hands. In those little moments, I found the richness I had been searching for. It wasn't in the big plans or the future goals. It was in the present, right in front of me. This is what I want to share with you. The now moment is the only moment that truly matters. We often live as if we are running out of time, and in doing so, we lose sight of the beauty around us. We forget that the moments we rush through are the very moments that make up our lives. If we're not careful, we could spend an entire lifetime waiting for the right moment, only to realize that we've missed out on the joy of simply living. Exercise 1. Embracing the present moment. Take a moment to simply be. No distractions, no to-do list, just you and the world around you. Sit quietly for a few minutes and let your senses guide you. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you smell? What do you feel? Notice everything. Let yourself become fully immersed in the present. In this moment, there is nothing you need to do. Just breathe. This exercise is about being present, not doing, not thinking, just being. Life is happening now, and the only way to truly experience it is to be fully engaged in it. As I became more intentional about living in the now, I realized that waiting for happiness or fulfillment was a trap. Happiness isn't something that will magically appear when the stars align. It's found in the choices we make every day, in the way we engage with the world and with ourselves. I stopped waiting for life to be perfect. Instead, I began to see the beauty in the imperfect moments, the moments of connection, laughter, and even tears. The mess, the mistakes, the unpredictability of life, they all became part of the story I was telling. And I found that joy isn't something that requires a special occasion. It's in the little things, the small, quiet moments. For instance, I began dancing in the kitchen, not because there was music, but because I felt like it. I started laughing at my own jokes, even if no one else was around to hear them. I learned to appreciate the mornings, the way the sun peeked through the blinds, and how the world seemed to pause just for a moment. I realized that happiness was never about waiting for the perfect time. It was about embracing the now. The beauty of life is that it's fleeting, unpredictable, and messy, and that's what makes it so precious. Exercise 2. Creating your own present moment. Find a time today to be fully present with yourself. It could be as simple as taking a walk in nature or sitting quietly with a cup of tea. Notice the small details around you. Notice the colors, the sounds, the sensations. Ask yourself, what is beautiful about this moment? Don't rush. Simply experience. At the end of the day, write down one thing that brought you joy or peace in the present moment. It doesn't have to be big, just something small, something that made you feel connected to the world around you. In embracing the now moment, I learned to stop postponing joy. I learned that life doesn't wait for us. Life is happening right now, and it's up to us to participate. We can spend our entire lives waiting for the perfect moment to live the life we want. But what if the perfect moment is already here? What if the life we've been waiting for is simply waiting for us to show up, fully present, right now? Exercise 3. Stop waiting for perfection. Think about something in your life that you've been putting off. Maybe it's a goal, a dream, or even just a small change you've been meaning to make. Why are you waiting? What's holding you back? Write down one small step you can take today to move toward that thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be now. Sometimes the first step is the hardest, but it's also the most important. You don't need the whole plan. You just need to start. As I stepped into each day with intention, I realized that my life was already full of possibility. I didn't need to wait for something to happen to start living. I had the power to create the life I wanted in every moment, through every choice. The now moment is where life happens. It's where we find the fullness of our being, where we can feel the pulse of life in every breath, every step. And when we are present, we realize that this moment, this life, is exactly what we've been waiting for. Chapter 5. Vision without pressure. Quote, "You don't have to chase what's meant for you. Just keep showing up with love." There was a time when I thought that achieving my dreams required relentless striving. I thought I had to chase them down, fight for every opportunity, and force everything into place. The pressure to succeed, to reach the next milestone, to prove myself. These things clouded my vision and left me feeling exhausted and disconnected from the very dreams I was trying to fulfill. I spent years thinking that success would come through effort alone, through pushing harder and harder. But over time, I began to realize something important. Success doesn't always come from forcing things. Sometimes it comes from showing up with love, patience, and intention, and then allowing things to unfold in their own time. Instead of obsessing over the when and how, I learned to focus on the what, the vision I had for my life. But here's the beautiful part. It wasn't a rigid vision with an exact blueprint or timeline. It was a vision that allowed room for growth, flexibility, and unexpected detours. It was a vision that wasn't defined by pressure or deadlines, but by a deep sense of purpose. I started seeing my life not as something to be fixed, but as something to be created. I started trusting that what was meant for me would come, and my job wasn't to chase it down, but to walk toward it with love and open arms. I began to let go of the need for perfection. Instead of striving to meet arbitrary expectations or set goals, I embraced the journey, knowing that as long as I stayed true to my heart, I was already on the right path. Exercise. 1. Creating your vision without pressure. Think about a dream or goal you've been working toward. Now, imagine that there is no deadline, no rush, and no pressure to make it happen. How does that feel? What does your dream look like when you take away the anxiety of time or urgency? How would you approach it if you simply trusted that everything would unfold as it should? Write down your vision for the future, but without the pressure to make it happen tomorrow. How does this new perspective change your approach to your goals? This practice of releasing pressure allowed me to move through my life with more ease. It reminded me that success doesn't have to look the way others say it should. Success is a deeply personal experience, and it is defined by the feelings, the growth, and the joy it brings to your heart, not by external standards or timelines. I started seeing the possibilities instead of focusing on the obstacles. I began to believe that everything I needed would be provided to me in the right time, and I simply needed to show up, do the work, and trust. It was like stepping into a dance with life, flowing, adapting, and moving with the rhythm of each moment. I stopped comparing myself to others. The success of those around me became an inspiration, not a competition. Their journeys were theirs, and mine was mine. I realized that just because someone else had reached their goals faster or in a different way didn't mean I was any less successful. I stopped trying to force things and started creating them with love. Exercise 2. Letting go of comparison. Take a moment to think about someone you admire. Maybe they've achieved something you dream of, or maybe they have qualities you long for. Instead of comparing yourself to them, try this. Celebrate their success as your own inspiration. Acknowledge the journey they've taken, but recognize that your path is different, and that's okay. Write down one thing you admire about this person. Now, think about your own journey. What is one thing about your path that you can celebrate? What makes your journey unique? As I began to embrace this mindset of letting go of pressure, I also started to feel a deeper connection to my own desires. I realized that I didn't need to have it all figured out right now. I didn't need to know exactly how things would unfold. The most important thing was to show up every day with love, with presence, and with the intention to create something beautiful. In my past, I had often felt that my dreams had to come quickly, or I would lose them. But the more I leaned into the idea of vision without pressure, the more I realized that dreams are not fragile. They are resilient. They grow at their own pace, and the more I nurtured them without force, the more they flourished. Exercise 3. Nurturing your dream with patience. Pick one dream or goal you've been striving toward. Now, take a deep breath and imagine what it would feel like to nurture that dream without any pressure. What can you do today to simply care for it without rushing it? Maybe it's writing down one small step you can take today. Maybe it's taking a break to rest so that you can come back to your dream with fresh energy. Write down one action you can take to nurture your dream with. Patience. How can you show love to your goal today? In this chapter, I've shared with you the power of vision without pressure, and how it's possible to achieve your dreams by showing up with love, trust, and patience. The key is in releasing the urgency and allowing yourself to move at your own pace. You are not in a race with anyone else. Your journey is unique, and that's what makes it beautiful. Remember, life isn't a sprint. It's a dance, sometimes slow, sometimes fast, but always in rhythm with your heart. By letting go of the pressure to achieve on someone else's timeline, you give yourself the freedom to grow at your own pace, on your own terms. And when you live from that place of love and trust, you realize that everything you desire is already on its way to you. You just need to keep showing up with love, day by day, moment by moment. Exercise 4. Showing up with love. Think about today. How can you show up for yourself and your dreams with love? Perhaps it's in the small, simple things. Choosing to care for your body, to take time for yourself, to speak kindly to your inner voice. These small actions, done with love and intention, are the foundation of your success. Write down one way you can show up for yourself today, with love, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. Bonus: daily affirmations for rediscovering love. Morning affirmations. Today, I choose love over fear. I am a magnet for deep, nourishing connections. I allow love to flow to me and through me. Evening. Affirmations. I release all that no longer serves me. I am proud of who I am becoming. I rest in love. Closing remarks. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I hope that as you've listened to these stories, exercises, and reflections, you found inspiration to rediscover love in your own life, both for yourself and for others. Remember, your journey is uniquely yours, and every step you take is a testament to your strength, resilience, and capacity for growth. Never forget, love, letting go, and living fully are not destinations, but practices that we engage with every day. As you continue on your path, may you find peace in the present, courage in the face of challenges, and a deep, abiding love for the person you are becoming. Thank you for allowing me to share this part of my story with you. I am grateful for your time, your energy, and your willingness to show up for yourself. With love and gratitude, Iyabo Bello.